Now that Andor is finished and that we see a decent few of our characters made it through, would you like to see more stories told surrounding the rebellion? For example, comics or Tales-like show? Or would you rather they leave this particular era alone for now? And if so, what era story would you like to see the most? We can reinterpret this question another way because you are not Mr. Lore Guy when it comes to Star Wars. What did Andor finale do for you, and how has it made you look at the future of Star Wars?
I think this ties directly into what I was talking about, the Silver Age of comic book stuff. I don't think this did as well financially as other shows. I don't think this did as well in reactions or any of the ways that you see people able to substantiate content.
Yeah.
But I think it did more for art than content. I don't know if the bean counters are going to do more of this to the scale they should because of the critical reaction, but I know this is going to inspire people to make more like this. I don't think this is going to help us on the suit side, but I think this is going to help us inspire the next generation of Gilroys, the next generation of Nolans and Finchers. I don't think this is going to help in the next 5 years because I don't think it did well enough financially, and I think it was a very expensive show, but I think this is going to be something that a young director is going to have watched in their formative years and gone, they can make Star Wars this good. And I think that's going to inform a wave of superhero content, of sci-fi content, of genre content in general. So when I think about an IP as good as Andor, I think about the rebellion it causes against bean counters. I think about the rebellion it causes against things being made for fluff. What genre content can be, and what I got out of Andor was the ability to feel like I wanted to rebel against systems by watching people rebel in such a beautiful way. The writing was so good, the acting was so good that I actually looked at me and I went, how do I feel about the things happening in this world, and what can I do in a way that is active versus what is the passive thing I'm accepting doing? And I was inspired by speeches that were written by fictional characters about our non-fictional world.
Yeah.
Genre content should always be a Trojan horse for actual morals and ethics, and it should always be something that is telling you something important. There is no such thing as art that doesn't have a message. By the nature of its existence, it is saying something. So people that are complaining that like blank, why does everything have to be so blah, like whatever word, this is the opposite of that. It is so layered. It is full of so much. And I don't see Star Wars going down this path because I don't think they can afford it. But I do see filmmakers being inspired, and whatever this next wave of film comes up through, whatever this next creator economy is, I honestly think at least 10 directors you see at Cannes or Sundance or doing a Letterboxd interview or whatever the equivalent of that is in the mid 2030s will speak to Andor as the thing that got us there. So I think the rebellion isn't against the present, it's against the future. And I think the rebellion isn't necessarily against our world politically. I think it's against art being crushed systematically by this capitalistic society of art.
I think the way they could utilize it, those are very beautiful points. I think the way they could utilize it is if they actually make a strong push for this to get awards, for it to actually get some Emmys.
Because that makes up for the financial.
Star Wars hasn't, and studios really treasure that.
Yeah.
Because then it could also attract filmmakers
100%.
who
I love
want to
that
do
point.
stuff. Like, I'm excited for Sean Levy's Ryan Gosling Star Wars movie.
That'll make money.
But it's going to be, Sean Levy. It's probably going to be some lighthearted, good time.
It won't be Andor.
It's not going to be fucking Andor, though. Like Andor's on a whole other level. And for a show as politically charged as Andor is, it weirdly wasn't subject to woke thing or leftist ideas that are being shoved down my throat. It's still a loved show. Again, more specificity equals more universal appeal. The irony of that, and I think that if they win some awards, I think it would do wonders. This show ignited my hope for Star Wars. So John and I, we did a rewatch of Rogue One after Andor season 2. We both hadn't seen it since the theaters, and we'd forgotten a pretty good amount, other than the fact that we know everyone's supposed to die, but and like Vader's in it, and it's so cool. Like it's John. That might be one of like my all-time favorite reactions. Yeah, because we haven't done anything like that or been positioned like that.
Yeah,
what they created with Andor gave us something new. It flows remarkably seamless into Rogue One. And Andor doesn't feel like Star Wars. Rogue One still feels like Star Wars. So you could see like this evolution.
That's really cool. I can't wait to rewatch it.
Into feeling like the Andor world going into Star Wars. Now, the movie definitely has like its flaws and such, but it was one of the most unique things Disney has done. Rogue One is a generally pretty loved movie, but then to do a prequel series that provides this remarkably new feeling. I can't think of a single prequel that has been done where if I watch the prequel and then watch the original, where it feels like the original now feels like a true sequel. Like look at the Star Wars movies.
Episode 1, 2, and 3 don't make me go like, oh, I'm so glad I waited to watch 4.
Yeah. A lot of people say, no, watch it in timeline order, and I don't ever recommend that to people.
If you haven't seen Star Wars, you're not going to get to 4 if you start with 1, in my opinion.
Because Andor doesn't act like, wink, we're a prequel. Look, we're a prequel.
Yeah,
they don't do that.
Thing.
They don't do that. It really feels like Rogue One feels like a sequel movie to Andor. It feels as if like Andor didn't get its 3rd season and then eventually got a movie.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. So it's remarkably seamless. And my point with that is that was all under the Disney umbrella at the end of the day. And it made me it made John and I go, we should continue watching the Star Wars movies. It got us in that vibe, that mood to keep watching the Star Wars movies. And I respect Disney for what they pulled off with that. I respect that they let the creative freedom flow. And that's my point, is like they allowed this creative freedom to flourish. They threw a lot of money at something that is very different and ambitious. The assault part of episode 3, apparently they got no pushback on doing something like that, which is kind of wild to me.
Yeah.
Which means if Disney allows that, then Disney will probably allow a Jessica Jones-like show to occur. So I feel like Andor, because when Andor season 1 came out, what I felt like was that's a great show, freaking great, probably the best thing they've done. But that's a one-off.
Yeah,
like that's not really gonna. It's like, oh, I have my opinions about Disney, Star Wars, and what Star Wars has evolved into. But oh yeah, Andor exists. Sure. That's a good one. Now it feels like Andor is a part of the Star Wars narrative.
With the Andor tie-in, with the Rogue One tie-in, it all feels, I can't wait to rewatch it.
Yeah. It's all gone from novelty to something truly substantial.
It now feels like a leg of.
There's a novelty to Rogue One. There's a novelty to season 1 of Andor existing in isolation, and then watching season 2 complete the Andor thing it stands on its own now, and it also makes Rogue One feel more like a living experience.
With season 2, I now feel like it's like Guardians with Marvel. Like Guardians trilogy feels separate, but it feels like a part of it because of the Infinity War tie-ins and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And so like I want to rewatch Rogue One for that reason, to feel that whole leg completed.
Oh, dude, it's great. Like we watched this so close together, and it was John and I were like kind of tripping out because we both said like we've never had this feeling before.
I'm watching it Tuesday because I've been watching I'm gonna miss Andor this week, so I'm saving it for like that Tuesday feeling, like that Andor feeling. I'm gonna watch it at like 6 on Tuesday to be like my end of.
Yeah, so I love hearing. I love everything you said, and I feel like Andor did not like inspire my faith and anticipation for more Star Wars. But after Andor season 2 and then watching Rogue One, it has reinvigorated that. I've been pretty critical of the Star Wars umbrella with Disney. I'm pretty critical of that.
I think one of the lines that really hit me strongest was like every act of rebellion is a direct attack on the Empire, and the frontiers are literally every corner of the galaxy, because every single small thing you do is chipping away, because freedom is natural and order is unbelievable, and it's not meant to be that way. And that's how I feel about art right now. Mm-hmm. I feel like we've been making art wrong, and we've been doing it so wrong that it's starting to crumble, but art is natural. So every time someone makes any art, it's an act of rebellion against capitalism. And I think that there is a blend. There is a place where capitalism and art can go inside. Like, I'm not saying, oh, all capitalism bad, all art good. I'm leaning that way. But I am saying that, like, when you make anything and you get it out, it is an act of pure creativity and freedom. And that's what I feel like Andor is going to inspire. Like, those speeches to me were about much heavier things like life and death. But I really hope that inspires filmmakers to make stuff even when they're told no.
Yeah. I hope Andor influences the other fandoms. I hope it influences Marvel.
Same.
In a way where like, let's go deeper.
Yeah.
Let's go deeper.
I'm
excited.
excited
Let's get that Captain America movie that actually has a point of view.
Yeah. Let's say something with our movie with America in the title.
Yeah.
And Captain.
And that's a movie that wants to be more broad and loses the audience.
And every word in that title is ironic.
Right.
Captain America, Brave New World.
Wow.
Recycled ideas in a world that is not brave, that has nothing to say about America, and doesn't lead.